Hello, my name is Matthew Secord, Captain of the Colorado State Patrol Public Affairs Unit. This video is intended to provide you with information about a multi-vehicle fatal crash that occurred on December 12, 2018 near Valdez, Colorado. This crash involved members of the ANIMAS County Sheriff's Office as well as members of the public. You will hear from members of the Colorado State Patrol about the investigation and learn details as to what occurred that night. The Colorado State Patrol takes crash investigation very seriously. The State Patrol utilized its Vehicular Crimes Unit to complete this investigation. The unit is comprised of officers who are highly trained in crash investigation and who have the responsibility of investigating complex and serious crashes. We conducted a thorough investigation to present a detailed, factual account of the events that night. This crash was very complex, and it was important to ensure we conducted an exhaustive and impartial investigation. As part of the investigative process, this case was sent to the ANIMAS County District Attorney's Office for additional oversight and review. Some of the information and images that follow may be graphic in nature and difficult to see or hear. Discretion is advised for young viewers or others that may be sensitive to these incidents.
Hello, I'm Major Copley with the Colorado State Patrol, the District 2 Commander that covers Southeast Colorado. Here to talk about the events that occurred on December the 12th on Highway 12 near the town of Valdez. That evening we had a traumatic event and it ended up in a significant tragedy for several families and several victims involved in a motor vehicle accident, which involved the Sheriff's Office from ANIMAS County Sheriff's Office and citizens from the Trinidad community in ANIMAS County. This was a traumatic event for a lot of people, and it has a sweeping impact on the community. Certainly our thoughts and our hearts go out to the victims and their families and this community as a whole. The Colorado State Patrol's responsibility was to investigate the accident and determine the cause of this accident. We take this responsibility to our community very seriously. It's important to us to do a professional and consistent job when we investigate accidents across the state of Colorado. Because of that, we assign this investigation and the complexity of this investigation to our Vehicular Crimes Unit, also known as VCU. Members of this team have expertise in investigating complex crashes and more in-depth investigations that are required for something like this. Members of our VCU team responded and began their investigation that evening and then worked through diligently the next several weeks of investigation, which, as you can imagine, could be very complex in this situation. Not only did we have the dynamics of the crash with multiple vehicles involved, but the numerous number of witness statements to go through and factual information to gather and evidence to collect. All of those things take time. All of those things had their own set of unique challenges that came up out of this investigation. As you can imagine, every investigation is slightly different than the last one. Some have similarities, but every one is different, and they require a different set of thoughts and process to work through and to gather the important facts and critical information. It's important for the families, for the victims, for the people of Colorado that we do these investigations properly and we do them right. We took our time to make sure that we had this investigation done properly and that we had everything in order so we could present accurate information to the District Attorney's Office and provide the victims involved in this accident and their families a better understanding of what occurred and where that responsibility for this accident would fall. This case was turned over to the District Attorney for a review, and it's important that they have a hand in an investigation like this to ensure that there's an independent party reviewing our actions and our work and our decisions for the good of the public and for the victims as well. As a result, the District Attorney's Office did reach a conclusion in this case, which we will publish as part of our investigation or part of our release here. And I will have Captain Lyons, who spearheaded the investigation for our VCU unit, discuss more about the specifics of the investigation and the crash and the details that fall within it. It's important to note that the State Patrol prides itself in doing complete and full investigations. And we take this responsibility very seriously. We appreciate the patience from the community, from the victim families, and from the media, allowing us the opportunity to ensure we had this investigation done completely and accurately, and that we could present the proper information to not only the public, but to the victims and to the district attorney's office for a sound decision and ruling on the criminal aspects of this investigation. Again, we remember to focus on the families of the victims and certainly those folks that continue to struggle down in the Los Animas community, which also includes some of our own members in the Colorado State Patrol who work and live in that community. We just ask that you keep them in your thoughts and your hearts as that community continues to heal and overcome this tragic event that occurred. Thank you.
My name is Brian Lyons, Captain with the Colorado State Patrol. I'm here today to talk to you about the tragic events that occurred on December 12th, 2018 at 7:48 p.m. that took the lives of 3 members of the Los Animas County community. Members of the Colorado State Patrol Vehicular Crimes Unit responded to the scene and handled this complex investigation. This crash occurred on Highway 12 between the town of Valdez and Trinidad in Los Animas County. Based on our investigation, we have determined Ms. Roybal was traveling eastbound on Highway 12, while 4 members of the Los Animas County Sheriff's Office were traveling westbound on Highway 12 to an in-progress domestic disturbance call. As Ms. Roybal entered a curve, she lost control of her vehicle, crossed the center line, and entered the westbound lanes, where she collided head-on with Sergeant Matt Moreno's vehicle. After the initial collision, Ms. Roybal's vehicle rotated counterclockwise and was struck broadside by Deputy Gomez's vehicle in the middle of Highway 12. Following this secondary collision, both vehicles went off the right side of the road and came to rest in the grass shoulder ditch, while Sergeant Moreno's vehicle rolled 1 1/4 times, subsequently ejecting him, and he came to rest in a ravine west of this location. Based on the thorough investigation, members of the Vehicular Crimes Unit have determined the proximate cause of this crash is Ms. Roybal's loss of control as she entered the curve, crossing the center line into the westbound lane where she collided head-on with Sergeant Moreno's vehicle. In addition, Ms. Roybal and Mr. Moreno were not wearing seat belts. We've also determined that speed is a factor from all vehicles involved in this crash.
To summarize the facts of this case, Taelor Roybal was driving eastbound on Highway 12 at 96 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone. Taelor was also under the influence of drugs and over twice the legal limit of alcohol. In addition, Taelor and Sergeant Moreno were not wearing seatbelts, which contributed to the severity of this crash. Taelor's son's child seat was also not properly secured. Los Animas County deputies were responding to a domestic disturbance call with emergency lights activated, while traveling at a high rate of speed in the opposite direction of Taelor. This crash resulted in the loss of 3 lives, and the Colorado State Patrol sends its condolences to all of the parties involved. If you're a member of the media and require additional information about this crash, please contact the Colorado State Patrol Public Affairs Unit.